Titans and started off free agency with a bang. We got Calvin Ridley, got Tony Pollard, among others. I'm going to get into some of those signings today, man, and I'm telling you, I'm absolutely stoked about the season. Let's go. All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of BWill's Take. First, before we start off, make sure y'all like the video. Make sure y'all subscribe. We got to get these subscribers up, man. We do the fan sites outside the stadium. We do some analysis with different players, which is what we be doing with the free agents. We do fight watch-alongs, just about everything. It's not just Titans. So make sure y'all give us a subscribe. Make sure y'all watch the Exit 1 show. We had episode 28, I want to say, come out last week. So make sure y'all stick to that. We'll have another one coming out on Monday. Make sure y'all look out for that. Getting into free agency, man, what a start by Rand Carthon. You know, people were having a lot of, panicking. It was panic stations for the Titans after the first little wave. What is Rand Carthon doing? Why is he going to Georgia Pro Day? He's making moves, man. Rand's cooking. He's cooking, and, you can see a process is what he's doing. We're adding more speed. We're getting more athletic, whether that's with Kenny Murray from L.A., whether that's Calvin Ridley from Jacksonville. He's got a plan with what he's doing, and it's just all about the process. For me, this is year one of the project with rebuilding the Titans. We got a new head coach in with Brian Callahan. We got a whole new coaching staff. And Rand Carthon, this is his first year of really having his hands over everything, whether that's the draft. Keep in mind, he was only with us for a couple weeks before the draft. So, the scouts really, really handled that, and Vrabel, and along with Carthon. But this year, it's all his show. It's his GOAT that he's messing with. I ain't going to say the other word. But, he's really got his hands all over this whole process, and he's done extremely well so far. I'll start with Calvin Ridley, man. At first, I was sort of skeptical about the price because I saw the figures, but we also have to remember these figures are agent-driven. These figures are from Tshefty to Rappaport. They're getting these numbers from the agents. These aren't the actual numbers. This is absolute top dollar. Like if you go to a car lot and you buy a truck for $50,000, or they said the price is $50,000, you gotta bargain them down a little bit. The numbers ain't what it seems with these contract deals. What it looks like is probably a 2-year deal, around $23-24 million a year, which is not bad. I don't want to hear about the A.J. Brown shit. That's a whole different regime. Don't talk about that. That's ridiculous. That's really ignorant to even bring it up. And that's what the national media is running with. But if you still go to the national media, listen to what they're saying about the Titans, then you're going to be mad all day. They don't respect us. Calvin Ridley, the deal's going to look really good. I think he's right outside of, if not right at, top 10 wide receiver money. So he doesn't have as many miles on his legs as the average 29/30-year-old. He spent a little time suspended with gambling. Him and MPF should get along really well, getting into the locker room. He's still got that speed. You watch his tape sometimes, and the camera struggles to keep up with Calvin Ridley. He's that quick, but he also accompanies that speed with great route running ability. He creates a lot of separation, and he's a man beater. He struggles against press man the same as D-Hop a little bit, but he is a man beater, and he's just smart enough to be able to find the holes in these zone coverages, which is something that's really, really going to help Will Levis. Will Levis is getting some weapons put around him. He's got D-Hop. He's got Calvin Ridley. We got Tony Pollard that we just signed. He's getting some weapons put around him. I think things are coming into shape. But Ridley, exceptional signing in my opinion, especially with the money, because you got to think we don't really have anybody that we're going to be paying over the next 2 years. So we're sort of playing with house money here. We're just trying to put as many weapons around Will Levis, put him in the position to succeed, and watch him flourish under Brian Callahan's new offense and get him used to that new offense and running it. So it's all about taking excuses away from Will Levis. We give him the weapons. We're going to add some protection, whether that's in the draft, and we'll talk about that later on, whether it's in the draft or we sign another left tackle. There's some good left tackles in free agency still. Tyron Smith, one of them. Mekhi Becton, he's decent. He shouldn't even be mentioning them two together, but there's still some decent players left protection-wise. And, it's just about taking his excuses away and letting him work in the system with the talent we're putting around him. And we're putting some talent around him. Tony Pollard, too. Exceptional back. Another one that doesn't really have that many miles on his legs. He broke his fibula, if I want to say, and sprained his ankle last year. Took him a little while to get back into the groove of things. You could say the same thing about Ridley. If you have a long period of time out, it's going to take you probably half a season, 3/4 of the season to get your legs under you and get really back in NFL shape where you feel confident that you can do absolutely anything. So same thing with Ridley, but with Pollard, he really kicked off in the last half of the season, was one of the better rated backs in per PFF after week 11, after he sort of got his legs underneath him and really felt confident again. So I think it's really good value, especially with it being another 2-year deal. We've got house money that we're working with, and it also allows us to not have to pigeonhole the offensive coordinator or Brian Callahan into calling a certain set of plays because we have two backs that are similar in profile. Tyjae Spears, Tony Pollard, similar backs, good out the backfield, shifty little scat back types. You don't have a bruiser that you got to come in, a big bruiser like Derrick Henry that's sort of one-dimensional. I said it, one-dimensional, that you got to cater the offense to a little bit, and you can only run certain things. The playbook's wide open with Brian Callahan and with these running backs we have in Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears, and they're both dynamic. We can even add some 2 running back sets in here. It's going to be a very, very fun offense to watch initially. It might be tough starting out because it's a new system for Levis and a new system for the team, but it's going to be a lot more fun than this exotic smash mouth that we've been used to seeing over the last decade or so. Just run the ball with a big back, since Chris Johnson, really. And really, Eddie George even going further than that. We've been sort of pigeonholed in that sort of old offense title. We're in the 21st century now, and it's going to be exciting to see. Another big signing for the Titans, Lloyd Cushenberry, the center from Denver. Very, very excited about Cushenberry signing, and I'm glad we got a vet in that role. If we were to go the draft route with the center, it would be another young piece adding to that offense, another young piece adding to that offensive line room, another young voice in Will Levis's ear. Cushenberry has been around in the league a little bit. This is his second contract. I want to say he's 26, 27 maybe, if not 28. But he's been in complex offenses with Sean Payton this year. He's worked with young quarterbacks before with Drew Lock and them a couple years ago in Denver. So he's accustomed to what this situation he's coming into. And from all accounts, what I understand, he's a leader, but he's a silent leader. He's a guy that's going to go about his business every single day, do things the right way. And that should rub off to the rest of the young offensive line. Adding a veteran piece like that at center, a leader in the offensive line room, is going to be great for the development, not only Skoronski, but also whoever we put at right guard, whether that's Radens or whoever. So it'll add some stability in the core center of that offensive line, and that'll give us an opportunity to draft a left tackle or draft another, really just draft a tackle to add even more talented offensive line that we're lacking. Very happy with Cushenberry signing. And I'm excited to see what we do at 7. We signed Sadiq Charles. He's a tackle. I'll get into them real quick. We signed Mason Rudolph as a backup quarterback. He's a backup quarterback. That's all you have to say about the backup quarterback. If Levis isn't in the game, we're in trouble. So there shouldn't be too much dialogue about a backup quarterback because at that point it's all gone to shit anyway. And then we also re-signed wide receiver 1 Nick Westbrook-Akina. Put some respect on his name. But going into what this does for us in the draft at 7, this really could change draft plans of 7 with us adding Calvin Ridley. Before, people would say that, it was probably a 50-50 chance. A lot of people were leaning towards receiver at 7, Neighbors, Odunze, between all and them 3. This changes things with Calvin Ridley. We have a Z receiver. We have an X receiver in D-Hop, and Calvin Ridley obviously being the Z receiver. Burks can fit into the slot. I don't know how successful he can be in that role, but when he came out of Arkansas, slot receiver, big body slot receiver, beating up on nickels, faster than safeties and faster than linebackers. He's succeeded in that role before. I'm not confident in him doing it, but he deserves a chance. All that to say, if Neighbors is still on the board, I'm still taking Malik Neighbors. I don't give a damn who else is on the board. If it's either Marvin Harrison or Neighbors, I'm still taking Malik Neighbors, and I'm really thinking about it with Rome Odunze, honestly. You just can't pass up on that type of perimeter talent when you can get a left tackle later on in the draft, maybe the second round, or a project that the scouts really like that Bill Callahan can really sort of morph into his own. If we go that route, we have to sign a stopgap left tackle. I'd like to see Tyron Smith. Injuries be damned. He's a good left tackle on his day. He's a good stopgap for a year or two. I don't know if we necessarily have the money to get him, plus add some other pieces at safety / extend Sneed if we trade for him. But that's the route I would go to because that would just, you're going to have to outscore us at that point. And that's what I want to see as a Titans fan. I want to see us just fully immerse ourselves in the new NFL, putting points on the board, worry about the rest later. And that's what I think Brian Callahan might want too. Because there's guys later in the mid-rounds of the draft that are good receivers, but I sort of like the tackles in the mid-rounds a little bit more and in the second round than I do the receivers. But if we were to go tackle, I would really like us to trade out of 7, maybe trade back to 10 or 11 and find a way to get Olu Fashanu at that point and then get a third. If we get a third-round pick, that'll allow us to pick one of the receivers like a Malachi Corley, a Malik Washington that'll probably be there in the 4th round. Just yak demons that I think we're sort of lacking a little bit in this receiver room. We really don't have a yak guy. Burks is not a yak guy. He was in college. I don't know what's happened with him. I don't know. He's not a yak guy. Chig is probably the receiver with the most yak ability that we have, and that's not enough. You need a guy that sort of Swiss Army knife type, Debo type archetype / profile of a Malachi Corley and a Malik Washington. Them two guys, if we were to trade back, get Fashanu, maybe draft corner in the second round, and then in the third / fourth round, find us a yak guy at receiver, I'd be very, very happy with this draft, honestly. Because I'm still high on Fashanu. I'm higher on him than I am Alt. We've got Bill Callahan for a reason. Let's draft a guy with an exceptional ceiling like Olu Fashanu that still is very, very explosive at the combine, and let Bill Callahan get his hands on him and really turn him into a perennial generational top left tackle in this league. I really love the idea of that if we don't go receiver. Defense, we got Cheeto Awuzie from the Bengals. Very, very good player. Probably more of a number 2-ish corner, I'd say, than a number 1. He's not your number 1 corner, but he's an upgrade on Sean Murphy-Bunting. Very, very good pick for him. Feisty. And when I watch tape on Awuzie, I see a guy that's looking to force turnovers every play. You know, we didn't really force that many turnovers last year. It was something that we tried to emphasize. It didn't work. Awuzie is a guy that's scrappy. If a guy gets past him on a tackle, you always see him. He'll try and punch the ball out. Or if he's coming into a pile and guys are held up, he's always trying to punch the ball out, rip the ball out. That's the way you force turnovers, and that's something Denard Wilson preached about. A guy like Awuzie plays offense while he's on defense. Very, very good pick for him. Decent man corner. He allowed some big gains, but other than that, from what I understand from the Glory Morning Show that was on this morning, Jake said he's only averaging, if you take away those two big gains, averaging around 20-ish yards per reception. And that's very, very good compared to what we had with Fulton and others in there. And the pickup of Awuzie will allow us to pigeonhole, really not even a pigeonhole because that's where he belongs, but really stick McCreary in the slot and allow him to thrive there. That's the best position for him, in my opinion. Kenneth Murray, a guy from LA. This is another one that I don't really, understand the backlash. Titans fans want and scream to be more athletic. We get a guy that's more athletic. Now they're screaming that he's not the smartest on the field. You can't really have your cake and your brownies at the same time, man. You just can't. A guy like Kenneth Murray at that price point, you're not going to get both. And we don't even know what Denard Wilson has planned for his linebackers. Is he just going to have that linebacker like Kenneth Murray just flying around to the ball, blitzing a lot? He's a very good blitzer. And on third downs, we're just doing a lot of sim pressures where he's at the line of scrimmage. We don't know. But if he do anything like he did at Baltimore, like McDonald did at Baltimore, what they've done out the history of the years, that sort of second middle linebacker, sort of off-ball middle linebacker, the athletic one, is showing a lot in the blitzes on third down. And if he's not blitzing, he's running to a hook curl or he's running to a flat. It's fairly simple. So Murray should be able to do that. And we have a very good linebacking coach in Bush that's been around the league for 20-some years. So I'm confident that we can morph Murray into somebody. And he's only on there for $7 million a year. And I don't even think that's going to be his cap hit. That's one of them car salesman prices that we have, the 24/3. So the money will look a lot better with him once we get the official details, if we don't have him already. But I know it's not going to be $8 million a year. I want to see what Murray does. I think he'll do well. We got to pair him with a better linebacker. We have Jerome Baker from Miami coming in. He's more of that cerebral type linebacker he's going to wear the green dot. I'll be honest with you. He's going to be, and you got to have some balance with the linebacker room. Him and Murray are very, very well balanced between the two. Murray's a really uber athletic guy that's going to fly around the ball, and Baker is that cerebral guy that's going to be pretty decent in coverage and still be able to, build out a good linebacker room. So, I'd love to see us bring Baker in. He's coming in for a visit today. Don't let him leave the building. Don't let him leave the building, Carthon. Get him in, and let's really shape this defense as we should. Another thing that we have, and this could be the biggest move of the whole offseason, I'm telling you. If we find a way, and it's been rumored that we're somewhat the favorites to get him. I ain't going to lie to you. If we find a way to get L'Jarius Sneed and put him on the outside opposite of Cheeto Awuzie with McCreary at slot corner, we will be cooking with some gas, I'm trying to tell you. If we get him for next year's third, which I do not think is possible, that's what's been rumored, that's an absolute steal. The statue for Carthon needs to be built. But even if we trade back, like the scenario I mentioned earlier, if we trade back out of the first pick at 7 to about 10 or 11 and pick up a third rounder or a second rounder, we can flip that to the Chiefs if Sneed is still there. They're having some reservations if they want to trade him or not. That's been the rumor, but they might just be trying to drive the price up. If we're able to do that and get that extra pick, send it to Kansas City. Let's get Sneed in here, pay him. He's still young. He's only like 26, 27. Very, very good corner, and he will transform this defense. Absolutely. If we get Sneed, we're not just talking about expectations of competing in the division. That's something that I always said. The Titans should be competing in the division no matter what. If we get Sneed, you're looking at winning the division. And if we're able to get a left tackle or another receiver in the first round, you're looking at, being one of the, not the favorite to win the division, because Houston's going to take the cake. They're the media darling. But internally, we're thinking to ourselves, and you can say it with a little more chest, we got a real good chance of winning this division if we add Sneed to this defense. So that's something I want to see done if possible. A dream move for me for sure if we're able to get that done. If Carthon's able to negotiate that with Veach in Kansas City, would be an exceptional move to cap off an exceptional offseason that we have going so far. So Amy is spending that money. She ain't cheap like the rumors say, like people have said in the past. Amy is spending that bread. Rand playing big bank, big bank, take little bank with Jacksonville, with New England. Ain't the first time we did it. We did the same thing with D-Hop last year in New England. So Rand Carthon ain't scared to spend that money, and Amy ain't scared to give it to him. So good offseason so far. One last thing I want to talk about, the Derrick Henry thing. I have to talk about it. He was a great servant to the franchise, great player for the franchise, and gave us a lot of hope during the sort of tumultuous years. And he was really the bell cow back for us that we put a lot of responsibility on his back, and he delivered for us. Great running back, Hall of Famer in my book. But as soon as he steps out of Nashville, he's an op to me. He is, especially with him going to Baltimore Ravens. Bunch of our former legends go to Baltimore. I felt the same way about them when they were there. That's sort of why, for me personally, I'm always more about the team first than players. Because players, you can't hold players liable for loyalty to a team when they're not getting loyalty from the organization. It's a business at the end of the day. Henry did what's best for his family, what's best for him. He thinks he can get a better chance of winning a ring in Baltimore. I don't think there'll be all that. But he also got paid in the meantime a lot more than we were offering if we offered him at all. He's an op to me. And same thing with Danico. Going to rivals, I don't fool with that, man. That's not cool to me. But I don't expect them to be loyal. I just know the energy I'm going to have towards them in the season is not, oh, I hope they win. I hope they do well. I hope they win a Super Bowl. No, I hope they lose every game. I don't care. I don't care if they used to play for us. They did great for us. They don't play for us now. They play for a rival. And I know I might be in a minority with that, but frankly, I don't give a damn. Because that's how I feel when you go play for a rival, a known historic rival of the Titans. It is what it is. But I didn't expect them not to do that. It is what it is. So make sure y'all like the video. Let me know what y'all think about Derrick Henry going to the Ravens, what y'all think about the Calvin Ridley signing, Cushenberry signing. We went from bruise to Cush. Cush is a little bit healthier for you than the bruise. I ain't mad about that at center. And make sure y'all comment and let us know what you want to see going into the offseason, what you want us to do at number 7 overall. If the Calvin Ridley signing changed anything, y'all let me know in the comments. Y'all like the video. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Peace out. BWill TV, make sure y'all like the video. Make sure you subscribe. I'm going to give you a button right here or right here. One of the two. Make sure y'all subscribe.